Hello everyone, this is an emergency Gorou announcement. So Gorou and Itto have both officially dropped on the Asia servers, meaning I'm actually feeling an intense amount of pain knowing that I won't be able to play them for a few more hours. But pushing my personal pain aside, something very important has been brought to my attention. So I whipped together this video as quickly as I possibly could in order to save certain players valuable primos. So I've actually gotten a substantial amount of comments in my comment sections from players stating that they're planning on summoning for Gorou and only Gorou and that they couldn't care less about Itto. Now, this is all well and good if you already have a character like Albedo or Noelle, but if you don't already have either of these two members built or don't plan to use them in the future, and you're still not planning on getting Itto after getting Gorou, then I actually think that you're making a massive, and I do mean massive, mistake. Normally, I'm not the type of person to tell people who they should or should not summon for. 9 times out of 10, it's more important to get the characters that you like so that you can utilize them however you want to. In fact, many characters can be good so long as you invest into them properly, but Gorou is a little bit different than most characters. Unlike buffers like Bennett and Kazuha, who are pretty much universal, Gorou specializes in geo damage and defense buffs. And as of recording, there are currently only 5 characters in Genshin Impact that actually scale off of defense: Itto, Gorou himself, Albedo, Noelle, and Xinyan. This means if you're not planning on using any of these characters, then Gorou isn't going to benefit your team basically at all. In fact, for Gorou to even reach his maximum capacity, you need to have at least 3 Geo members on your team. This way he can get his defense boost, his interruption resistance buff, and his Geo damage buff, meaning that summoning for Gorou and just Gorou without these other members in mind is not a smart move. By himself without supporting other Geo members, Gorou is, frankly, one of the worst characters in Genshin Impact, but when supporting characters like Itto, Albedo, and Noelle, he's easily S tier and irreplaceable. There's also something really important that I need to mention, and that's actually the risks of summoning for 4 stars on rate up. Now, obviously, when a 4-star is on rate up, this is your best and most optimal time to actually snipe them, but keep in mind that there are 2 other rate up characters on the banner and they can easily take your 4-star pity. As of recording, the characters that are currently on rate up with Gorou are actually Xiangling and Barbara, 2 characters that everyone gets for absolute free, and the only value in getting them now is getting constellations. But the big risk and the thing that everyone needs to keep in mind is the fact that since all of these characters share the same rate up pity, this means if you're very unlucky, there's a chance that you'll only get copies of Xiangling and Barbara and no copies of Gorou. To put things in perspective, when I was summoning on Yoimiya's banner way back when, I really wanted both Yoimiya and Sayu. However, when I actually went to summon, I got my first copy of Yoimiya and didn't get a single copy of Sayu. I decided to keep summoning so that I could get at least 1 copy of Sayu, but guess what ended up happening? I kept rolling and rolling, and I actually hit my 5-star pity again, getting a second copy of Yoimiya. So essentially, I had a C1 Yoimiya, but I still didn't have a single copy of Sayu. Luckily, in the next few rolls, Sayu eventually did decide to come home, but only after losing my 4-star pity numerous times to characters like Diona, which I already had at C6, meaning that I had essentially wasted thousands of primos just to get a single copy of 1 4-star rate up character. So what I'm trying to get at is that if you aren't at least comfortable with the possibility of getting Itto, then you shouldn't summon for Gorou at all. Although chances are that you're more likely to get at least 1 copy of Gorou before you get Itto, the chances of the opposite are never 0, meaning that if you don't want Itto and you've been saving up for months for characters like Xiao and Ganyu, Shinhei, etc., then you're taking a major risk of losing out on their pities for a single 4-star that's eventually going to be put into the standard banner anyway. So to free-to-play players especially, do you really want to risk your 5-star pity to get a 4-star character? And not only that, but a 4-star character that only really pairs well with 3 different characters, one of which being the character that you want to avoid. It just doesn't make much sense. However, of course, to play devil's advocate, you can ignore this advice, you can ignore what other people are saying, and just do what makes you happiest. If you know that you won't be happy without Gorou on your account, and you don't care about Itto, you don't care about Albedo or Noelle, but you know that not having at least 1 copy copy of Gorou on your team is going to make you sad, then go ahead and just say screw the meta and just get who you want. Not absolutely everything in this game has to be about dealing big numbers or clearing endgame content, but to those that are already struggling with combat, then I highly recommend you take my advice. Either summon for Gorou and be okay with getting Itto, or even gun down Itto since he is going to be one of Gorou's best DPS units to pair him up with, or just skip the banner altogether knowing that you can get Gorou down the line. As I mentioned earlier, I do think that Gorou is going to be absolutely irreplaceable on teams that revolve around Itto, Noelle, and Albedo, but I personally just don't think that he offers enough to be worth it on his own. Either way, I hope that this gave you a better understanding about Gorou and who he's going to synergize best with, and if I could save at least a few people's primos, then that's more than enough for me, and I think that this video was worth making. If you did end up finding this video helpful at all, please feel free to leave me a like and comment down below. I'd greatly appreciate it since it does help me boost into the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more Genshin Impact content from me, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. But for now, that's all that I have to say about Gorou, at least until I can get my hands on him myself. So, until next time, best wishes, bye!